Hey, welcome to the Do Good Work podcast. Today we have an exciting episode for you with Melissa Hughes. Melissa is a self-made millionaire by age 31 and is a founder of Live Rich, Spread Wealth Global Movement. She's a master business coach, best-selling author, international speaker, and consultant, and she's on a mission to help entrepreneurs and individuals accomplish their business goals, including massive profits, which we all like, while staying connected to their authentic self and divine purpose, transforming the world and creating lives of limitless abundance. Melissa, how's it going?
Doing great, Raul. Great to be here.
Melissa, I had to hold the podcast, put it on pause before we actually talked about this specific topic, because I think there is maybe a misalignment, misunderstanding of a quote unquote controversy about doing good and actually doing well financially. Like they coexist? Are they opposites of a spectrum? I would like to start off with your thoughts around that first.
Yeah, my thoughts around that is that you definitely can do amazing work in the world and also be significantly profitable. And that kind of comes from the reason why I'm the founder of a movement called Live Rich, Spread Wealth. And Live Rich is all about embracing all of who you are, the quirky, your education, your knowledge, experiences, and supporting humanity in a positive way. And then getting out of your own way to make room for the abundance that provides. And no, that's getting out of our own way, because
Yeah.
if you're naturally a giver and a do gooder, oftentimes you're like, oh, that you would give the last shirt off your back. Like, and you really feel proud about that. And that's a great thing. But I want to take a stand for you to never run out of shirts, because we need you out there doing all this great work, but be open to the abundance that it can provide you. So be open to receiving. Like all the people out there that are great givers, like they
Mhm.
are amazing. They make so much, they're humble givers or servant leaders, and it's very difficult for them to receive. Like,
Interesting.
and I'm like, no, actually, we need you to receive, because we need you to keep on doing amazing work out there in the world. So be open to the 6, 7 figures plus. Be open to leaning in on your level of service, but have some healthy boundaries around it so that your generations that you don't even get to meet can still know that you are the reason why they are where they are today, because you did good work in the world and you were able to receive the abundance that provide to create generational wealth.
100%. That's so powerful too. And I want to dive into the idea of generational wealth and leaving a legacy. But you're 100% right. And I think it's not just around the fear of receiving, but it could also be like, maybe I don't want to seem like I'm asking too much or go out and not just get what you deserve, but like the
You
labor
want
of what you've
the
actually
money
produced.
conversation, like,
Exactly.
the money conversation.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. I think that I know for me personally, it was part of the grooming. Like, don't ask like you need anything, and or are you even worthy for what you're like. You would do this for
Hmm.
free, so why would you ask
Charge.
payment, and why would you charge for that? And also, oh, no one has enough money to buy it. Like, you might be wanting to do great work in the world, but you already have a mindset that the money is not available to compensate you for that. So you don't want to put anybody out of the money that they don't have, even though
Yeah.
you're actually changing their lives, changing their businesses, doing whatever it is that you do. And so it is something that I really do take a stand for the giants out there that are doing great work. I need you to be profitable, because when giants are profitable and when they are the givers in the world, they're going to
Mm.
be invited to these meetings behind closed doors.
Yeah.
They're going to be invited to be at these influential tables where there are major decisions going on. And I need as many do gooders to be wealthy as possible, because in your DNA, you think about people other than yourself. You can really be a voice for the people that don't have voice or not represented in that
Yeah.
room. So it's critical for the do gooders in the world to be open to receiving the money for their nonprofits, receiving the money for their great causes, because then that's sustainable. And it's also good for them to get paid for that as well, because
100%.
then they can be able to give even more from a really great, healthy place. So, yes, absolutely. Money and doing good can coexist. And money actually has no energy. It's what we put behind it, right? So, it's the
Hmm.
meaning that we make with it. I read this book by Ken Honda. It's called Happy Monday, Happy
Yeah.
Money. I actually read it with my daughter. She's 7 years old. So, I mean, it's really the intentions behind the money. It's money doesn't have any meaning by itself. It's what do we put towards it? Do we have good intentions? When someone gives it to your cause with good intentions, it'll be even more prosperous. They actually benefit by
Yeah.
it. So when you receive money from other people for good things and for good reasons, they actually get blessed as a result as well. So don't block anyone's blessing, including yours.
Yeah, 100%, and it'll compound too, and then the way that you decide to distribute those
Yeah.
funds. I'm curious to know, you mentioned it, you briefly in the beginning as well, like the mindset shift, and I do wanna dive into that because I find that to be very important. Like, I've experienced that myself, like, even the practicing that and then being invited to private groups or for something different. Oh, there's a decision happening. Oh, I can influence or I can
Yeah.
support or I can add value. But tell me a little bit more about the mindset shifts because it sounds like you have it distilled into some sort of framework or that you've practiced this with a lot of people. What are the common roadblocks that we're like that they see? What are some of the common mindset shifts that we can make and how do we practice that in reality?
Yeah, sure. So some of the roadblocks that we can see is it depends. We all were raised differently. We all have
Mhm.
different experiences growing up, but there are experiences, rightly so, that you can feel like you're not worthy, that you don't have a
Mhm.
voice, that you're not seen, that your words don't matter. You can feel like you're not the right type of person to be taken seriously. You don't fit a mold. And there are times where you just might not have been raised with a lot. So you just are used to not having a lot. And
Mhm.
that's just the way you've accepted life to be. I believe that abundance is your birthright. I feel like we all come
Mm.
on this planet with multiple possibilities. And although we might be born into a certain situation or circumstance, we also have the opportunity to change that if we decide we want to. So, yeah, it is a mindset because abundance can't reach you if you're not open to it. And if you make
Mm.
it wrong, there's no door to enter the house. So it is really allowing yourself to regard like abundance and worthiness. I was like, okay, they say, am I worth someone paying me that much? Your worth is actually priceless. It's actually
Yeah.
off. It's
Superior to that. Yeah.
it's so not even related. They're not even in the same conversation. You
Mhm.
as a person are priceless. So when we're talking about your services, your goods, or working for someone else, salaries and some whatever that may be, just know that you should get paid as a direct result of the impact that you're making. So whatever you're doing adds to the bottom line, get paid for that.
For that
It's
transformation.
yeah, for that transformation, for the results that you provide. And that allows you now to be open to understanding, like, okay, did this move the mark for someone? Did this move the mark for this company or this team? What did it do? And as a result, you can get compensated for that. Just make room for that to happen. Because I will tell you, your mindset is so powerful that it will never make you a liar. So if you
Mm.
only think that you're broke, you're not gonna get rich because your mindset it'll never make you a liar. If you feel like you're broke, you're gonna be in situations that will always put you back in the broke situation because
It's
that's what you're
crazy.
but if you think you're wealthy, this is what's really crazy. If you think you're wealthy and you are showing up energetically wealthy, you're actually doing right by others, and you're open to receiving, even getting a spot closer to if you're in a mall with all these spaces, getting a spot closest to the door, you're gonna be thankful for that. You're gonna have gratitude for everything because that's kinda like the wealthy mindset, like you are in gratitude. It's not
Mhm.
about you, but it's a humble acceptance of abundance. So you see it in so many things. And that's when you see it and you pay attention to it, more can show up. So it's not about greed, which is a different energy. It's
Yeah.
about receiving abundance
Mhm.
in all things of life. And then being open to money actually is included in that equation.
So it's the formula within gratitude as well, right? To be able to see things differently and also receive with gratitude and like
Yes.
praise as well.
Yes, because gratitude shifts your state, if you will. It shifts
Mhm.
how you're gonna receive bad news. It's just tough times. When you are grateful for something and you are like rock bottom and you're still thankful for something, it's like the enemy's there. Oh, damn. What can we gave our best shot to just take oh, yeah, I'm tired. Go ahead. Go ahead and have your wonderful life because we can't break you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
That's
crazy that way.
I love it too because you do become a different person when you practice this over years, right? I mean, obviously there has to be a period, maybe 3 months, 6 months, that you start seeing some benefits. But really, it is you're rewiring also like the neuroplasticity within your brain. Like
Yeah.
different cells are being replaced with new cells, and that allows you to. It sounds weird, become a different person, become a newer, better person, approaching to what you want to do.
'Cause you're in alignment with the truth,
Yeah.
right? So you're in alignment. If you are grateful for so many things, first of all, we're an option. Like, we don't have to be here talking right. We can be like, not on this planet right now, like 6 feet under. So this is
Yeah.
like, as long as you're breathing, there is something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And that will shift your state totally. Like it'll allow more possibilities to enter in your life that you might
Mhm.
not have thought was on your particular radar because you are open to that level of abundance. It's a frequency thing, it's an energetic thing as well. So,
Yeah.
whatever you are is what you attract. So, when you are grateful for life, for breath, for these things, you are in alignment with the truth that all of this is actually a blessing. It didn't have to go down like this. You know?
Oh, I love it. I love your terminology. Let's dive in a little bit more about your journey. What got you here? Like, how did you get to the point where now you're receiving this message in a way and you're sharing it so boldly as you are today? Tell me about that journey.
Well, I will say that I'm a thorough learner.
Yeah.
But it did come to this one day where I was literally in this really luxury hotel. I had a great view from my desk. The scene was breathtaking and beautiful. And while I knew that I could look at it, I knew that I would never be able to be a part of it. I
Mm,
was actually like many people, I'm not unique in that being on these calls, back-to-back business calls, putting out fires, answering emails, navigating company politics, doing work that I kinda like the people and I kinda like the work. It was like I was not really it wasn't resonating with me, and
mm,
I remember that time I was thinking to myself, like, "This cannot be my forever after. What is all this about?" Because
mm,
at that time before, I thought that the more money I made is the closer I would get to freedom. And what I
mhm.
was experiencing was like the direct opposite. With every pay increase and every bonus, it was like I had these titanium handcuffs. I
Wow.
literally had a vacation lifestyle without a vacation.
Oh.
So that sucked. And I was not even fulfilled. So it's like that time my career was dictating my life. The more money I made, the less time I had to be with the people that I really loved and less
Mhm,
time for myself. It was stressful and it actually was totally unfulfilling. At the same time, while I was miserable, I was ashamed to admit it. Like, my family's not even from the
mhm.
United States. Like, they told me, they put the blueprint out. You get your education, you get a good job, you get the house, get the car. Like, they gave me the roadmap. So I was following what I knew to
Yeah.
do, being the
Mhm,
first generation from Jamaica here. And at the end of the day, I gained the skills, I got awards recognition, but there's something that I knew. I knew that I didn't feel like I was making a difference. Like, I
hmm.
was grateful for the opportunity, but I felt like there was more. And I tried to be happy, but on occasion, I would hear this voice, and it was like, "There is more. There is another way." And it
Huh.
would nudge me. It'd be like this real discreet, soft voice, much softer than all the management by objectives and all the things I had to do on my plate. And that day I was so fed up. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of all this. I don't know what that other way looks like, but I know what this looks like and I'm over it. So I chose to follow that and discover what that other way was. And
Mm,
it set me on a journey. Like I had a lot of introspection to do. I had a lot of retraining my mindset.
yeah.
I invested in coaches and masterminds and stuff like that. I mean, it was hours and dollars that I invested in this, but at the end of the day, now my life dictates my business. So I'm like super happy about that. And I get to spend time with the people that I want to spend time when I want to spend time with them. I don't do anything that I like really don't want to do.
Mhm,
And I'm not stressed out. I'm totally fulfilled. I've gotten more than I ever dreamed was possible. And
mm,
I'm not saying that my story is unique. I think there are many people out there that have traded time for like hours for money, or they made a lot of money, but they're not able to really live a fulfilling life.
yeah.
And other people also want to take a stand for humanity, but they forgot that they were human too. So they had their
Oh,
own
yeah. Yep.
needs. They forgot that. And I'm not the only one that's heard a little voice nudge. I mean, there's a lot of people that have heard this little voice, your intuition, and then we'd ignored it to the detriment of our business, our relationships, our health, and our life.
Mhm,
So I believe that part of doing good and following that call is being able to listen to that intuition, that little nudge, because in my life, my experience is that it's led me to be time rich and profitable. It's led me
mm,
to be in alignment with what my purpose is in life. And I'm humbled and thankful every day. I'm successful in doing it and I'm so successful. I'm like, look, I teach other people how to do it because I'm like, look, I'm a thorough learner. Like I bumped enough to my toes, I skinned enough of my knees that I can be like, don't do that. Like, you could do that. And but I also, even when I coach others, I'm also saying, look, there's a lot of data out there.
mm.
And that's great. I'm not saying to ignore the data, but data is stacked in a lot of different ways to tell a story. So also trust yourself. Listen
Interesting.
to the data and then check in with yourself because then you'll get the full solution. And I think what's most interesting is that intuition is like all part of the packaging. Everybody has it. But we've had so many like life experiences and layers and fear out there and so many different messages that we oftentimes give more weight to people outside of us.
That's
And
incredible, isn't it?
yeah, it's totally incredible. But I
It's like we
mean,
want that feedback loop, and we're getting that feedback loop. It's a bad feedback loop. It's a wrong tunnel. It's like it
totally. And we don't trust ourselves. So we're like, oh, okay, like, it's not the right idea. You're like walking in that direction anyway. I mean, I talked to a
yeah,
lot of people where they're like, they knew it wasn't the right thing to do, but they had some advice.
yeah.
So I guess my biggest thing is I had to listen to myself. Like I had the good job. My family didn't understand. Why would I leave a great paying job to follow my heart, follow my purpose? What is this that you speak of, child? We didn't make all these sacrifices for you to hear. That's not what we meant when we said American dream. Wake up, go back to work kind of thing. And I wasn't flippant with it. I definitely still maintain employment while I made sacrifices to bridge over to my own business. But at the end of the day, it was a lot of sacrifices. It was a
Yeah.
lot of work, but I would do it over again. Like, really enough, if I had to do the same thing, I would do it again because it's been that much worth it that
Mhm.
I would recommend it for anyone that wants to do good. Just understand the possibilities that you can be rewarded just as handsomely, or if not more, in
Yeah.
making a difference in the world. So don't let that deter you from following whatever your superpower, whatever your purpose is to support humanity in a positive way. Listen to it. Take some time out.
No, I love that. W How did you marry that? Because I know it goes back to your broader mission of supporting humanity, serving humanity in a big way, and I love that, like
Yeah.
serving the giants and the giants out there. But when you come to align that in the beginning, like when you were still in the baby steps that you were taking, how did you align that bigger mission or to the mission of, I need the practical sense, making that leap, replacing that income, creating that revenue, build it. How did you do that, and what drove you as you transitioned?
Yeah. So, like, the tactical, practical application of that was I was in corporate America. This is the thing. I actually, when I left corporate America, I created a membership based day spa. Okay.
Okay.
The way that happened is I was actually moving into a new neighborhood. I
Yeah.
had a great job, and they told me that spa was going to be there. When I got there, they're like, "Oh, the deal fell through." I was like, "Oh, hell, I'll do it." Like, because I really wanted to experience that. And so I ended up having my own day spa, and that was my first business. I became a millionaire by 31 doing that.
Oh, no
And that's
way.
really weird because it's different when you're in corporate and you're like, "Oh, that's not my job. That's HR. That's accounts payable, accounts receivable. That's actually two
Yep.
different departments of corporate." When you have your own business, like, it's
It's
basically,
all
what
you.
hat am I wearing in the moment? What does this look like for me?
Uh,
And even though it was a lot of work, I was so satisfied because I knew that I would be benefiting as a direct result of this creation that I did. Like, I did it from
mhm.
and then yet I also was challenged with I was challenged with the fact that I wasn't sure if I was like an imposter. Like, I was
Mm.
doing the thing, I was doing the work, but I just wasn't comfortable. I had a mindset that didn't even support me in being in my own business. I felt like success meant you're all alone. So remember,
Yeah.
your beliefs will never make you a liar. So whatever I was doing, I was like, what? Running this business, isolated, can't talk to the employees about ownership stuff. That's not
Yeah.
real. Very isolating. But then after a while, I end up selling that business and things of that nature. And then I end up going into consulting.
Mhm.
Consulting was good because I was able to use my knowledge. After having a brick and mortar business, I made a few decisions. I don't ever want to be tied to a location ever again in my life. Like, I just like, I missed so many family events. I missed so many things. I was in a different state than the majority of my family. So I was like, been there, done that, not doing that again. So I decided to do consulting. And consulting was really good because I made way more than I would do if I was an employee.
Yeah.
It was enough money that you can get your own benefits, you can do all that. It was really good money. But then I was still trading time for hours.
Yeah. That's the tough part.
Time for money, right? But I was getting paid based on what I built, like my bill
Mhm.
rate. And I was like, this is not exactly what I did at. I found out through my experiences that coaching, I like my leadership style is a coaching style. So I learned about coaching and I was
Mhm.
like, wow, this is great because I can get paid for my results that I provide people. I don't have to be in an office 24/7 to do that. Because in corporate, I used to be the person, especially the kid at that time, that I'd be done like by half the day.
Oh,
And I had,
dang.
this is like, I was just, but I knew that wasn't the culture. So you still had to look busy.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Like, you got to put the culture when you're in corporate. You got to know what it looks like to be successful. But anyway, I learned about coaching. And I was like, then I learned that I can apply all of my skill that I supported major company, Fortune 50 companies were recruiting and Microsoft recruited me, places recruited me for my
Mhm.
skill set. And when I went to the spa, I was like, oh, that's what was my test for myself. Is this virtual reality or can I really make a lot of money, even if it's not
Mhm.
a corporation? That's where I decided yes. So that's really where my purpose aligned with my practice, like my skills. So now I've committed to supporting highly educated, multi talented folks and really answer your call because I can support you in monetizing and I can support you in understanding what's the highest level of service that you have.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of giants out there that might have been labeled as jack of all trades, master of none. And the
Yeah.
reason for that is because we're so used to slicing ourselves up based on who we're around, right? So when
Mhm.
corporate, we don't want people to be intimidated. So we like dim our lights so that nobody, we're not intimidating anyone. Everybody's okay, cool. Okay, I can work here still. With our friends, we're not like trying to be all braggadocious, like, oh yeah, I got that great raise or my company's making millions of dollars. No, you want to like subdue yourself so that everybody feels like you're still the regular Joe from
You're
across
still
the
you. Yep.
board. Well, like, you're still you. Doesn't mean you're still you, but you're really trying to like slice and dice yourself for other people's comfort. But the
Yeah.
challenge in that is when you start your own thing, then you're used to doing that. And that's the antithesis of what you need. That's the opposite of
Interesting.
what you need when you have
Okay.
this. You need to integrate all those bad boys, bring them all together because from that's the fullest, that's the most aligned version of yourself. So
Hmm.
that anything that you're doing when you're looking to seek out or serve a certain population, you're showing up fully. You're not like, oh, I'm insecure about this, I'm secure about that. No, you're like, this is who I am and I want to serve you. And there's no static in the air, you know what I mean? And when you are able to bring in all your skills, meaning your experiences, that's where a lot of giants get their humbleness because they
Yeah.
use a lot of stuff. So now they have an empathy like nobody's business because they know what life really can do. So they're
Mhm.
not full of judgment mode and they're highly skilled. And so they're really delivering on some great results. And I want to take a stand for them to really be successful in the world. So that's one of the things, like, you gotta integrate all of who you are. Like, don't slice and dice yourself anymore. Because when you're wondering, "Why doesn't anyone see me? Why isn't my message really ringing through?" Because you didn't bring all your stuff to the table, that's why. Like, what? Like, I was really good at, like, systems and braided systems, things of that nature, but then my clients would tell me, they're like, "Man, yeah, you really have helped me to do well in my business, but, like, you don't tell people how spiritual you are. Like, you actually need to put that on the forefront." You know what I mean?
Huh.
And one client in particular, because 'cause I'd like, "Keep on planting those seeds." And she's like, "So tired of planting seeds." What? But then her business started booming and she's, oh my gosh. And it was like places that she'd been like a year ago, 6 months ago, they were coming back. And she's, man, your level of business and spirituality has really supported me in doing what I do. And I
Uh,
found that my uniqueness being like that, which I got that from my grandparents. My grandfather was
mhm.
the first entrepreneur I met, and my grandmother's the most spiritual person I ever met. Those are seeds that were imparted on me. And that is part of what really makes me unique because business, like my first breakdown in business, I had to attribute it to being bigger than myself. Like I used to be the
Mm.
most type A person in the world. Like if there's a problem, I'm gonna go up the hill, around the hill, under the hill. I'll do whatever I need to do to solve
Yeah.
the problem. All my might. I'm kissing my muscle. I can do it. And the first time in my business at the spa where on a Thursday, I realized I've done everything that I can do and I don't have enough money to clear payroll the next day. I was like, I would rather die than look these
Yeah.
people in the
My
face
gosh.
that have already worked their time. They have families and responsibilities as well. I'd rather die than let them know that I don't have it. And I was like so much in turmoil around that. And my mother called me out of the blue. And then she like called for backup. Let's get grandma on the line. Like she called her mother. And
Oh
these
my gosh.
like literally prayed for me the whole night. That's how I made it through the night. And I was walking to the spa the next day, and there was a guy that was there, and he was purchasing a membership for his wife. And that membership totally covered payroll, and I had enough for
Wow.
right? And it's that moment that I'm like, yeah, I used to go to church and all stuff like that. But I'm just like, no, this is something else. This right here, this was a spiritual, like, this was more spiritual because it wasn't me. I did all that I could possibly do. And
Yeah,
I
there's that
was
point.
failing. I was behind. And yet the next day, making it through that, I was like, it's bigger than me. That's no other thing that I can say about that. That allowed me to then, lead me to be a millionaire by 31. But I was able to understand, like, in order for us to be in the best way and to be the most alignment, we need to be able to recognize all parts of our that include like your mental, your mindset, your physical, everything, like your family, everything that we need as human beings. to do well, spirituality has something to do. I'm not saying religious, but I'm saying spirituality has something to do with it. It's like that soul thing. It's part of the packaging. When they were created, we all got this
It's
thing
part of the
called the soul.
package.
It's part of the packaging.
I
Like
love it.
the manufacturers, you're part of the packaging. So why not celebrate and tap into those things, especially when you, and I mean, this is what our life is right now. I feel like for the last 15 years, I've been supporting entrepreneurs and leaders and being able to choose powerfully in times of uncertainty
Mhm.
with great sneeze and without second guessing themselves. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of hard to do. Like
Oh,
really.
no, definitely. You mentioned it earlier specifically wherein, like, you're listening to other voices or other people who give you
Yes.
advice may not be the best thing for you. That's a huge takeaway, really. So you
But
gotta second guess, whose advice am I taking and why
yeah,
am I taking it?
why? And am I saying it because of fear? Because I'm afraid of losing? So I'm just going to grab at something that someone told me to do? Am I
Mm,
taking it because I didn't think I was worthy of another possibility? Like that there can be another client that's right there the next day? Could I make room for those possibilities? There's so many different possibilities. Just like there's something that's negative that can happen. Why
yeah,
don't we think of something that's positive that can happen?
100%.
Scarcity mindset and an abundant mindset.
How are you keeping abundant mindset as we're in uncertain times? And I think I look at it the positive, uncertainty equals opportunity. But I
Yes.
also want to be able to get different perspectives, especially your perspective on the uncertainty that we're definitely facing now and will continue to face.
Yeah, it's not going away.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm kind of nerdy in this. I'm very systematic. So, like, me and I teach entrepreneurs how to look. This intuition thing, come on now, game on. Listen to all the facts. But these are facts that can be, they can come from any different direction. They stack stories. Facts can stack a story. You know what
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean?
It has to
But
be.
but there's something about, okay, like for example, I had a client and he was really a doubter of this whole intuition thing because he is data. If it's not in the data, I'm not going to get caught up in the drama. And I said, you're right. But let's talk about this. I said, is there ever a time that you were in your business and you did the wrong thing? Like, and you had known it was the right thing, like you knew the right thing to do, but whatever the pressure, the fear, you did the wrong thing and you live to regret it. And this data driven guy, he was like, you know what? Yes. He said there was a position that he had available in his company, and
Mhm.
it very important position, and he had a lot of pressure to fill the spot. He wanted to fill it with a certain person, like a certain kind of person. Didn't see the
Yeah.
person yet, but had something in mind. This resume came here on his desk that looked good on paper. Like it was like shiny, squeaky, great candidate. But there
Mhm.
was something about the candidate he wasn't really sure about. But because he was crunched for time, he didn't think it was the right idea, but he was listening to everybody else and trying to manage the 2. Well,
Yeah.
that had hire cost him so much in his business. It was the absolute worst decision he ever made. And he like, yeah, I should have trusted my intuition because that literally cost me in my company. This
Yeah.
first that hire, it impacted his good hires. He
I've
really
seen that. No, I've seen that.
yeah, it created a virus in his company, and he had known the answer all along, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so we all, I think, have examples of times where we didn't know what to do. We've never been there before. And we've had this nudging, okay, let's go this way, even though it
Mhm.
wasn't the popular opinion. And we've either suffered as a result of not listening to it or won as a result of listening to it. I won as a result of listening to my intuition. My family was like, "You already had that good job. What are you doing?" Had that security. I had all those things. But there's something to like having money and then losing your soul. It just doesn't, those 2 don't
Those
really
don't mix very well, do
exactly.
they?
How do I
Yeah.
live life? Just saying. But
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if in the package they had the actual
yeah,
manual, and I don't think that's
I
included in
didn't
the
go back.
manual.
I didn't go back there. No.
No, I love that, Melissa. Thank you so much for a wonderful conversation and the laughs. This is such an enjoyable podcast convo. But I'm curious for all our audience members out there, what's the best place for people to one, thank you for this episode, and two, to learn a little bit more about what you're up to?
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, the best place to thank me, you can find me on social media. And I want to hear, that you are listening to this Do Good Works podcast. I want to hear that. And I want to celebrate you because this is a great place to be. Raul, you are doing phenomenal. Your message is so powerful here. I'm thankful that I'm even here in this space and in this conversation. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, I am Melissa Hughes is the easiest way on social media. In addition to that, I have a documentary that is published because of being a founder for over 15 years now. They said, hey, you need to document this. People need to know. And if you go to liberichspreadwealth.com, you'll
Mhm.
be able to get free access to that. And this is for those of you that want to understand what does it look like to get out on the other side. Like my life right here, this is not how it started. Let me not sell you any bags of biscuits, popcorn, or or flowers, right? So there's been some ups and downs, but it's really to be encouraging to you for you to know that no matter what circumstance that you're dealing with, for you to be able to do good in the world, it is possible and you can be profitable. You can really look out for the next generation and build generational wealth based on you answering your call. So if you want to see what that looks like to be unapologetic about making decisions in times of uncertainty, check that out. And if you want to learn more about how to work with me and my team, melissahughes.com is the other place to go as well.
I'll put all those in the show notes, Melissa. Thank you again.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
If you found value in today's podcast, please consider sharing this with someone that you believe could also benefit from this episode. You never know, you may be the catalyst that opens them up to a new way of operating their business and experiencing life. As always, it's an honor to be a small part of your journey. This is Raul Hernandez. Do good work.